But the voice actress for Aloy is the same voice actress for Tiny Tina from the Borderlands series.
No.
It is. It
What?
is. It is. It
What?
is. It's the same.
That can't be. That can't be. Tiny Tina has got more character in every sentence she says than Aloy does throughout the entire game. That's crazy.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of everyone's favorite podcast, Critical Arcade. I'm your co-host, Nick.
And I'm Dave.
Yes, hello, Dave.
Hello, Nick. Are you well? On everyone's favourite podcast today.
Yes! It is. It is.
It is.
Well,
It
it's
is.
my favorite podcast.
Oh, and it's mine. So, you know, and we're the only important people, so everyone.
Exactly. I don't think this is a coincidence. I don't. I do think, though, that this is the best podcast, and that's why it's everyone's favorite.
Oh, yes, I agree. Lots of people don't seem to know that yet because they're not listening. But wait until they do, and it will all, you know, people will say the same thing. It will go around
Yes.
like it's everyone's favourite podcast.
Yes. They'll go to each other's parents and say, this is objectively the best podcast.
Yes, no, 100%. That's going to happen. There's no doubt. Anyway, What game are we doing today, Nick?
Wow, enough. All jokes on a robotically bioengineered stick. This week, we played the 2022 almost hit Horizon Forbidden West.
Yes, almost the most recent game. Overwatch 2 was the most recent game. This is the second. This is the first like AAA titled game, I think.
That's right.
Well, which is excellent because the podcast is doing so well. Oh
yes,
yes. Anyway, what
we've hit double digits. We've actually hit double digits.
Yeah, no, like I say, we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, not with weekly listeners, but with our episode numbers. This is episode number 10.
Is it? I thought it was 11.
It is episode number 10. This is it. We've made it.
Cool. Yay! Yeah. I'll put that deposit down on the house.
We've done it. I'm gonna add some sort of celebration song.
Yeah, okay. yeah, they can do better than us, right? Well, like Horizon, no one, like I said, anybody in this game has they've all heard of Horizon. You can't hear, you know what everyone's played in theory. Horizon, Zero Dawn. Like I said, the names are confusing and hard to remember. But yeah, now you've played Horizon Zero Dawn to its death, right? You've platinumed it.
That's right. I played Horizon Zero Dawn until I got the platinum, and then immediately after I got the platinum, I uninstalled the game entirely. I deleted it off my hard drive.
Fair enough. Well,
because that was too long.
Yeah, Like I said, once you've platinumed it, you basically you've done everything you can anyway. So I'm not surprised you uninstalled it. So, like I say, who published?
I've generally got the same feeling from Horizon Zero Dawn that I got from Forbidden West.
No, exactly the same. I thought it's
the same very much the same game.
Yeah, it is better, but it's core.
It is better. That's right.
It is still kind of like the same game. Like I don't not in a bad way because the first game was very good, and this one is better. But you'll hear later on why we say this, because it is fundamentally the same game. And it was developed by Guerrilla Games. And I was wondering what else they developed. Yeah. Like, was it just Horizon?
Guerrilla Games. Do
you know?
They made Forbidden West, they made Zero Dawn, and they also made the Killzone series.
Yes, I didn't know that. I played Killzone. You played Killzone?
I haven't played Killzone.
Yeah, it's alright.
You're that's the general feeling I'm getting from all the Killzone games.
Yeah,
a lot of people are just saying it's fine. You don't need to play it.
No, they're fun, and I think they're also co-op, if I'm not mistaken. Which is again, that's quite fun.
It is. That's a good thing. Some background, some context. Horizon Forbidden West, released by Guerrilla Games, as you said, it was released this year. Unfortunately, a couple of weeks just before Elden Ring.
Yeah, I thought it went under the.
What? It fell under the radar.
Yeah, radar. Sorry? That's the one. Radar. That was the word I was looking for. It fell under the radar, didn't it? Which was shocking.
It was.
Like I say, poor
Right?
Horizon.
It is shocking. This was the hottest thing for approximately 14 days, I think.
Yeah, I agree, because it was it's like visually it's great and everything like that, and it's a sequel to one of the best games of, when did Horizon Zero Dawn come out? A while ago.
I think 2017 or 16.
Yeah, and that was one of the best games of that year too. So people
Yeah,
were
yeah,
hyped
yeah.
for this game, and then sadly another game kind of stole all the limelight, which is unfortunate,
It's
for the
unfortunate.
developers. Yeah,
It's unfortunate. But now that we're actually sitting down and playing this, I can say there are some truly excellent parts of this game.
Oh yeah, no,
Very
there
much. This is a technical juggernaut.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Like, it's one of those things where we're all quite spoilt when we get all the Elden Rings and all the other great games coming up. This game is pretty amazing, but it's in a pool, because you gauge them with the other pretty amazing games. You kind of lose sight of the game you've actually got in front of you, because you compare this to, I don't know, Overwatch or what else, it's night and day. So you don't compare them to those games. You have to compare them to Elden Ring and I don't know, Metal Gear Solid and all those high level games, because they're in another tier of their own. And so's this. This, like I said, this game is amazing. Don't get me wrong. This game is excellent, but we kind of have to hold it to a higher standard. So that's why
We do.
I guess we gave it the grades it did.
The games this one is competing with are those with higher budgets.
Yes.
The workforce is larger. So if you would compare something like this to an indie game, you can't actually do that fairly, because millions of dollars have been thrown into this game.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, I agree. That's
Hundreds and thousands of work hours.
Oh yeah, and the just how many the year gap shows how long it took to develop, because they didn't. You see games coming out once a year, say like Assassin's Creed games that kind of just rehash the same thing and then put it. Well, this literally took the 5 years or however long it is to get this game out, which you can see, which is how it should be. It's the same thing what Grand Theft Auto 6 is doing. It's the reason it's taken so long, because hopefully, knock on wood, when that releases, that's going to be like phenomenal again.
That's an entire conversation.
Yeah, sorry, that's a different tangent there. Well, like I said,
if we yeah.
No, like I said,
I wanted to move on to narrative, so you say what you want to say.
There was lots of things about this game I found. I don't know about you. There's one thing that I couldn't just get past, is that I'm slightly jealous. I want to be in a world where there was like a computer uprising and stuff like that, because if you've seen their bodies, every single one of them has got yoga bodies. They're all like slim. The guys are all built. I'm like, take me. I'll go there now. Like, this looks like, as soon as Skynet happens or whatever the what's going to happen and computers try to take over, we're going to get so fit. Eat your McDonald's now, because eventually we're going to have to look at all of them. They look perfect.
Yeah, they do, and it happens automatically, right?
Of course, it must do, right? Every single. There wasn't one fat person. There wasn't one like small person. They were all these like Amazonian women and like Herculean men. It was like, whoa. Let's do this now. Yeah.
Those are some good adjectives.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was saying.
There's one. I remember one fat dude at this near the start of the game. Once you entered, I think it was the
Daunt. Yeah, the Daunt, the place. Yeah.
Yeah, just when you enter the Daunt, you get lowered from this elevator on chains.
Yeah. I remember the elevator. Yeah.
And you immediately get greeted with the Sun Priest.
That's right. I remember him. Yes.
Yeah. He was fat. He was ugly.
He was a bit fat. No, that's true. Maybe I forgot about him.
He was antagonized.
Yeah, it's true. He was villainous, so he's allowed to be.
So in some classic Hollywood fashion,
yeah,
the fat ugly guy is the bad guy.
That's right. Strangely enough, it's not fair. We're not saying that's fair, but that did seem to be the case.
Not at all. No, not at all. It's just a pattern we always see.
So let's jump straight in, right? So what we got first? Narrative.
I liked the narrative, just like I liked the narrative for Zero Dawn. You get thrown into this huge mystery. and then you untangle and unravel everything as the game goes on.
No, I agree entirely, but like I said, I actually enjoyed the story more on this one because it had more of a end of the world, more desperateness to it. Like I said, because of the scope has gotten bigger as Forbidden West means is denoting that she gets to leave her confounds of where she lived in. I don't know, what was the original area? Can you remember? In Zero Dawn,
The Nora.
Yeah, the Nordor and the Kaja area.
Yeah.
And so now it's gone vaster. She has to go. She's fundamentally saving the planet. So I like the story's gotten far more end of the world apocalyptic, which makes the stakes a little bit more stressful and intense. Except
it makes sense. The stakes are much higher in this game.
Except the one thing that I could not get past. Like I say, I'm not going to ruin the storyline, but she gets the storyline and it's apocalyptic, and she's basically told she's got about 3 months to save the world, which is cool, right? Who doesn't want to do that, right? And yet, every single time she goes to any tribe or townsfolk, she helps all of them. You know, she's got 3 months to save the world, but little Timmy's stuck in a tree. Nobody else can help him. Can you help? And she's always like, yeah, if I get the time. And then, I don't know, me personally, weeks have gone by helping out these little towns. And I feel like the apocalypse is tomorrow on my playthrough, sorry. So, you know, it made me laugh that they kind of give you this dramatic timeline and then fill it out with, like, side quests that are like, okay. Don't get me wrong, the side quests are actually very entertaining and very cool. I don't know how many you got into.
Not as much as I'd like to.
No, the side quests, like I say, you sometimes get those the generic fetch quests and defeat this one quest. These ones are more fleshed out. There are reasons and backstories and
very nice
death and you know, they are good. They are worth the time. Like I said, at least you know, they've actually put some time into that. And like I say, one aspect that I really enjoyed.
It definitely comes across that everything in this narrative has been more fleshed out. The stakes are higher, but that is a common pitfall that these open world games tend to fall into, right? If the world is in danger, but you don't want to go save the world, you don't have to. You can go get little Jimmy out of the well or whatever.
That's true. The immersion kind of stops, right?
And it does. It breaks the pacing a bit if you can do it yourself.
But yeah, like
the only open world game that I've encountered that deals with this in a very good way would be The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask.
You have to explain
where
that
there's a constant timer going off. In 3 days, 72 hours, the moon is going to crash into the earth.
Okay.
Right. And there's this constant timer going off. In 72, you have 72 hours to beat the game. They tell you this.
Is that real time or game time?
No. It's game time. It is much, much shorter than 72 hours.
I'm about to say, yeah. But it's, other games have tried doing it, like Dead Rising and...
Yeah.
What else have we got? Dead Rising, they had... what am I thinking? One of the Final Fantasies, Lightning Returns. And hell, even the original Fallout games had a period. And people don't like it. And I understand that because it makes... You have to do things quickly and it makes you enjoy it less. And I am actually...
The Persona games.
Yes, the Persona game is exactly also very true. Yeah, you've got that. You have to do everything before the end of this date. Which I think Persona, sorry, now we're jumping in, does it very well because you've got the deadline but have enough time to also...
That's right.
Like flesh out your experience. They do seem to nail it on the head because a lot of the other games don't. And you feel rushed, and that's a horrible feeling to have when you're playing through a game. Like, you've got to rush it instead of enjoy it.
Yeah.
And very few games have been able to get that right. Like I said, your mention of Persona, I personally think they've actually done, especially in 5, they did that very well. I never found myself too rushed in that, while still dating and all the other things.
The story, I think... The story is quite good. I felt it... It was slightly a bit better than Zero Dawn. But I have one big complaint about this game, and it was the same complaint that I had for Zero Dawn.
Go on.
I might not be alone in this, or I might just be totally alone in this, but I really don't like Aloy.
What about it do you like, out of curiosity?
I I don't like how stoic and boring
She is boring. No, I agree. She is quite boring.
I mean, there's no problem with being stoic. Sure, Bruce Wayne's also like massively stoic, but Aloy is boring.
Yeah, and the funny and
yeah,
they keep comparing her to Elizabeth Solbeck or whatever, who,
yeah,
like I say, was she boring too? Because of all the characters they compare her to, she also sounds kind of like, I give you she was super smart and she was doing this to save the planet, but she didn't seem to have much else to her life. And Aloy seems exactly the same. Like she's got no relationships. Well, granted, I believe her father figure died, and then that's about it. And she even treats her friends kind of meh. Like, I'm not sure how much you've seen, but when she comes across and says thank you and stuff, it's quite, like you say, it's kind of stoic and kind of bland and like, did you really mean that? And later on, I know you haven't got far, and I won't spoil it for people, it comes across even more after certain other aspects with characters happen. There was another thing that I did like, the narrative-wise. I know you didn't probably get as far as I did, because I got a few. There are actually about 3 stories going at once, which I enjoyed.
Oh.
Aloy's plan to put Gaia back together, and Gaia is a terraforming AI that helps fix the planet and get rid of the blight. I think it's called the blight, isn't it? Or the rot. The red stuff. I forget what
the blight.
The blight, is it? Okay. And then there's what's his name? Cyrus? The black fella? I forget his name.
Yeah, Silence.
Silence, that's it. Silence, sorry. He's trying to kind of control history himself, and he's the one who's giving the rebels the ability to override the machines so that he can take control of the AI on his side or something along those lines. But he's riling up some rebels to kind of take on the third kind of bad guys, and those are the Zeniths. The Zeniths, it's a very long, convoluted story, but they're basically the humans that were on the planet before Aloy and her tribe and stuff, and they've come back. And they want to kind of just wipe out the planet because they want the materials on it. They don't care about the humans on it. So you got these 3, and Silence wants to kill them before they can. Aloy just wants to get Gaia, and the Zeniths also want the rest of Gaia as well for some reason, I can't really know. So there are 3 parallel stories going at once.
Zeniths.
Or Zeniths.
Zeniths. Are they aliens?
Strictly speaking, yes. If it would like to granted it, it's the narrative that's the story. You find out later that when the world was ending, a bunch of scientists and stuff left the planet to go find a new planet to live on.
Yes, I got that. They wanted to colonize another planet.
Correct. And then, like I said, I don't want to spoil it too much. Didn't happen so much. And they're back. So, aliens in some degree, yes, because they haven't aged. And there's reasons to why. But they are all actually in the original inhabitants of the planet, so in theory, they're not.
Oh, man. See,
they're there, and they're kind of assholes.
These are good narratives, right? These are good stories. I like them a lot.
They are.
And it gets interesting when all of these stories kind of happen at the same time and influence each other.
Yeah, no,
it's good.
It makes it very like watching a series on TV or something. It makes lots of plot twists and stuff like that happen, which is a lot of fun.
Then why are we stuck with the most boring character out of everyone?
Yes, that's true. The artificially manufactured Aloy.
Yeah, she's extremely capable, but wow, she's probably the most boring.
Of the biscuit.
Yeah, she's boring, but she's also a Mary Sue.
Yeah, no, exactly. It is remarkable, isn't it? Take into account you've got all these other games like the Last of Us and all the other ones that are just built on narrative, and then you've got this person that could be complex and female lead and all these other things, and she's, like you said, she's kind of stoic and tepid, she's not really that deep of a character. Which is, like I said, I think you've nailed it. That's the biggest narrative pitfall. You don't really care for Aloy. You care what she's doing, but you don't really care much for her. At least that's how I feel when I play
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
That's you've got it. For The Last of Us, as you mentioned, Joel, he's been scarred very
it's
deeply.
heart-wrenching. Oh, heart-wrenching.
It is.
The whole
Super
story,
heart-wrenching. And the character arc that he and Ellie goes through that entire first game.
Yeah, it's the best part about the game.
Yes.
In my opinion. I know the shooting and the stealth mechanics and blah, 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 but it's the story.
Exactly.
The nitty-gritty is the best part of that game.
It's close to a narrative masterpiece, the arc that they go through that entire game.
No, I agree.
And on a completely different level, the entire character for Nathan Drake.
Mm-hmm.
That is somebody... Uncharted. That is somebody that I want to spend a weekend with.
Yes, no doubt.
Definitely. I want to crack a cold one with Nathan Drake. Just sit down and talk about all the things he's gone through. Because he's not going to tell me, we need to restore Gaia.
Yeah. Oh, and if I have time, I'll be over there and I'll help out, maybe. No, I agree. It's one of those things that... It's like, you know the actor Nathan Fillion?
Of course.
He would have been the perfect Nathan. And I don't know why they didn't make him... Sorry, semantics now. I know they made Tom Holland and all that jazz. I actually haven't watched the movie.
Same.
Anyway, semantics. Sorry. So narratively, it is very good. But like you've said, it's hard to care when the main protagonist doesn't. Or doesn't seem to. She does, but like personality-wise, not so much.
Yeah, I think you also put it very well. You don't care about Aloy. You only care about what she can do.
Yeah, and it's another weird thing. They've made some of the other characters you really care for. I know you've probably not met them yet, but you gain characters that go to your base, kind of like a Mass Effect style to it. And some of those characters you generally feel for. You've got a guy with no arm. You've got a woman who's trying to save her tribe from starvation, and she's all plant-like. She's all to do with nature. I forget their names. I should have written them down. But those characters you feel for. Aloy, you don't. I don't know why.
Oh,
it's really weird that they put the effort into one thing and not into the other. At least that's how it comes across.
I might just be shooting myself in my gaming foot here, but this is the exact same problem I've got with Geralt.
Oh, really? But then in theory, he's designed to be stoic.
He's very cheeky some of the times, and the things he says are great. I just can't get over the way he talks and how serious he takes everything.
But you get that the mutations he went through is supposed to take the humanity out of a character.
Okay. I take it back. You're right. I take it back.
But one of the parts, like, granted, I am a Witcher fan, so I'm not. It's not amazing. But part of the parts that you see as he slowly kind of gets his humanity back as he becomes a father to Ciri. That's kind of the characterization. But I understand what you mean. Sometimes he's too stoic, but in theory, there's a reason for that. Whereas Aloy, there is none.
No, the only reason is she's an outcast. She's an exile.
Yeah, exactly. It's always an outcast or an exile. Yeah, that's it.
No, she still can go through a development arc.
Yeah, and now she's a champion. Everybody keeps calling her a champion. She should be, the outcast and should have been overwritten by everybody open arms.
Yeah. Or at least like slightly. But no, there's nothing.
No. She's like a dead fish out of water.
Wow, a dead fish out of water.
Fish out of water.
I like that.
So that's narrative fundamentally.
That's narrative. If we can go this next segment is easily the best part of this entire game. And that's the visuals. Wow. Loady load. Horizon Forbidden West is gorgeous.
Yeah, it really makes you, it's almost like the whole game is like a benchmark test for the graphics device inside, the graphics card inside. Because it's, like I said, I wrote down, you got to understand that you go to, listeners, ladies and gents, you go to different vistas, be it snow, sand, jungle, mountaintops, underwater, tropical jungle. All of it is in there, and all of it is just stunningly rendered. And it must have taken the artists so long. Like, I couldn't even imagine. I wouldn't have that patience. But I just thought everything about it was so pretty.
I can't understand how you make something like this with such incredible detail and then make it as colossal as this game is.
Yeah, no, like it's crazy. Have they got 10, 20, 40,000 people working at one time, or was it just a few thousand working their asses off? I don't really know. But it's a master. It really is a masterpiece. But they were quite known for it with Zero Dawn. That they pushed the envelope there, and on this one, it's just it makes like you said earlier, like Horizon whatever 3. You know, you look forward to it just the visuals alone. Like, even if it's got Aloy in it still, could you imagine? Like, it's hard to imagine better looking. But I can only imagine that will develop. But better looking visuals is hard to even picture. But like I said, everything about this game, I thought visually, it's like I know that people got lost in the the screenshot taking aspect of it too.
Yes, the photo mode.
That's it. Yeah, the photo mode. Some people literally got stuck in that for hours, just taking photos of the beach and underwater.
I mean, easy. There are people that makes complete sense to me. If you're a photographer out in the wild taking pictures of the landscapes or the wildlife or the plant life, that can easily be achieved in this game too.
Oh yeah. Like you do it from home. Yeah, no doubt. It is crazy. And like I said, I don't know enough about graphics design and stuff like that, but like even the things like close up on the flowers, and even the robot design and stuff is so well done. Like, I think intricately done.
That is probably one of the best parts of this visuals. Everything about these visuals are excellent, but one of the most excellent parts would be the designs of these quote unquote robotic animals. These the nature life. It there are no words to describe this. You need to see everything in motion, right? These charges,
you really do.
These huge cobra-like snakes. It's
and you've got to understand, these artists must have genuinely studied the anatomy of like a hippopotamus and a mammoth and a bat, and then they had to make that into robotics, but also make it move, but also make weapons and like acid sacs, and place them in places that in theory you would place it if you were to create that animal. Like you said, for the snake, they put the venom sac underneath its mouth or chest area where you'd presume, I'm guessing that's where it is, potentially on a snake, I don't really know.
It makes sense.
They must have done like just anatomy 101 of like prehistoric animals and zoo animals and stuff like that to work out where everything is. And then it's just so, like I said, it's so even just aesthetically pleasing seeing them work. Like the animals also, ladies and gents, actually do tasks without you interrupting them. Like the hippos are spreading seeds or something. They release these canisters that have manure or something because they're supposed to be with the climate change. And the crocodiles, when they swim through the water and all that, they're always doing something. It's like I said, it's just, I know like you've told me, and I know some of your friends, sometimes you get overwhelmed by games or storylines or aspects of it. And if you, like I said, if you break down the graphics in this game and you think, I don't know how they did it. I consider myself a relatively intelligent person, but I have no idea how they did it. Like, I've got not even the foggiest.
These non-existent ideas of how they did this get even worse. Well, worse or better, depending on how you see this, when you realize that this game works on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, I actually haven't looked at that out of curiosity.
I'm not sure how it runs, but just having it work on the PlayStation 4 is it's I don't know.
It's fascinating.
How.
No, it is, because they've got to be two different dev kits. Again, I don't know much about it, but I know they get development kits for each console, don't they?
Yeah.
So and you've got to, like, again, they must render something both for PlayStation 4 and then PlayStation 5 or the next gen to old gen. And that must take ages. You must take certain things out or change the fidelity and stuff like I said, basically all I'm saying is, if you were an artist who worked on this game, bravo, damn.
Definitely. I think
it's insane.
There is somewhere there is or was a turning point where art design took preference above graphical fidelity.
Yes, yeah. No,
right.
I
think
agree.
about 20 or 15 years ago, graphical fidelity was still the much more important, but somewhere art design took over. And we got these stunning games like Forbidden West, Cyberpunk 2077, Elden Ring. These graphics are they're good, but the art design is what I feel like took it to a whole new level.
You can almost see, like I say, I hope it's this way, you can almost see that companies such as these are actually giving the art department the reins. You often hear timetables and pressures here and development people on this.
Yeah.
These studios feel like they say, have you got it done yet? And then they say, we have, but we need another 3 months to fix it. And they sound like they may be. I don't know if I'm true. They're saying, we'll have 3 months because we want it. It feels like there's a respect between departments. I don't know if that's true. Maybe it's my optimistic view of how these things work. Case. Because you can see that whoever directed the visuals on this, he had complete control over it. And I like the idea if he just said, he or she just said, no, it's not ready yet, so go away. And it sounds like, if that they said, oh, okay then. I like that idea because you hear so many studios where it's not like that. Like some departments just get their budget cut and their hours cut and overtime without being paid. And how are you supposed to do your best work? And these studios sound like they're saying, do your best, and be it with sound, visuals, gameplay, narrative, you do your best, and we'll see if we can just piece it all together when it's all done. That's how I like to think these studios are working. I'm sure it's
I
not
hope
true,
so too.
That's how I like to think it. Yeah.
Because I think FromSoftware works like that. Or Guerrilla Games, it definitely looks like it.
Yeah, I agree.
But other studios, I don't know, Activision Blizzard.
Yeah,
I definitely think they do not work like this. I think they got money first.
Yeah, I agree. And lots of studios, Activision, Blizzard, EA, are kind of going down. Yeah, we all know the stories. Yeah.
Anyway.
And it only makes them look worse, which is just a benefit as well. All these studios doing great things like that makes the other scummy ones look worse, which is good. But yeah, like I say, visually, I don't think you're going to find a better game at the moment. I really don't. Maybe
once God of War Ragnarok comes out.
Well, I'm saying we'll wait for that one. I hope so.
I hope so too. It's very difficult to talk about the visuals of this game without talking about it for hours on end.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, sorry, it's very true because it's so much there. But I agree. Okay, so what did you think of the audio then? You're the audio man. You've got the background.
The audio on this game, I think, is also, surprise, very good. Not as good as the visuals, but I still think that the audio in this game is very good. If you take into account the sound design for the machines, right?
Yes,
that's
true. Yeah.
not an easy task. I mean, if you were to ask someone just to think up, so what would a machine ferret sound like?
Yeah, no, exactly. You've got to try and make up.
Right.
This is what a ferret would sound like, and then you've got to
a machine bull. What does that sound like? It's not going to be easy, and it's going to take a while.
But on the same front, that does also sound quite fun. Like, I'm not sure, like, if you like the idea of doing, so what would a machine bull sound like? Like, would it sound like a lawnmower? Would it sound like a ball bearings running through water? I don't know. I don't know how they do these things, but that sounds like fun. But you're right. I bet you there's a lot of complexity to even that concept.
It's the sound design on the these machines, together with the music, together with the another excellent point, the voice acting.
Yes, no, I've written that down as well. I loved the voice actor, except for Aloy. I loved the voice actor in this.
The voice actress for Aloy, I've forgotten what her name is.
Yeah, same here.
But the voice actress for Aloy is the same voice actress for Tiny Tina from the Borderlands series.
No.
It is. It
What?
is. It is. It
What?
is. It's the same.
That can't be. That can't be. Tiny Tina has got more character in every sentence she says than Aloy does throughout the entire game. That's crazy.
That is very, very true. But I am going to give props to the voice actress for Aloy for having such an insanely huge
No, that's
range.
true. That's true. And another little tidbit. I don't know if you probably didn't get far enough, but and I forget the actress's name. But you've watched The Matrix, right? The movie?
Yes.
Trinity is in this game. She's the
Ooh.
voice actress for Tilda. I don't think Tilda's one of the Zeniths or Zeniths, depending on it. Tilda is actually voiced by Trinity from The Matrix.
Wow.
Like I say, I don't know about you. If I hear a voice, that bugs me continuously until I find out who it is because I recognize her voice.
Yes.
And I'm like, who's that? I have to find. I stopped playing, and I have to find out. And it was Trinity. So that was. I liked Trinity. I'm not sure if I actually seen the actress in anything else. But yeah, I thought that was cool.
Super cool.
But
Video games are getting there.
Yeah, no, really are. They're getting those names now, aren't they? Well, I'm not saying she's a huge actress, but they are getting there. And what did you think of the opening soundtrack? Like, one thing I noticed, and the wife enjoyed it too. You know when I load up the PlayStation, and then I'll go out and make a coffee or something like that, and then I'll load it in, and it highlights Horizon, and it just leaves it on there, and then it starts playing a song.
Yes.
You must have, yeah. And I went to go get coffee, and when I came back, the wife is just sitting here like, whoa. I'm not allowed to press play now because this song is so zen.
She's listening to the song.
Yeah, she's like, She's like, I'm not allowed to do anything because she's listening. And that first song is pretty awesome. Like it's called what's it called? Whatever comes. The opening song's just like, it's a really cool song. Like I said, I've listened to it instead of playing the game on occasion.
Oh wow! No, it is good.
No, it really
if a song can do that to you.
Yeah.
If a song can do this to you, then you know it's got a power over you, and that's genuinely why a lot of games has music to have this sort of let's say to create an emotional bond between you and it.
Yes, I agree. And it's one of the fun things about doing the podcast because I think I hear it and look for it more now than I ever did. You know, that was just an opening song. I'd have pressed X and start and all that jazz by now.
Yeah.
And how about the song? I don't know. I don't know if you taken on the Thunder Jaws and stuff like that. You get this banging soundtrack as you do it now.
I listened to it again. I can't remember it right now, but I can only imagine.
One is called Built to Kill.
Jeez.
And I don't know which.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. I don't know which monster it is. I remember it. I had to find it again because I remember fighting them because there's like 4 or 5 big nasty robotic monsters to take down now, and that song when that kicks in, it's actually a fantastic tune, which I can't remember Zero Dawn having, but you get so pumped up when you're there, you're just dodging left and right from explosions, and then this banging tune just starts, and you're like, I don't really want to kill it now because this song is so good. I want it to survive. But yeah, I thought that was like soundtrack-wise, that song was awesome.
All of the parts, or all parts of this game's audio, sound design, music, voice acting, it's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good, bordering on great.
Yeah, but that, like I was saying earlier, is that we now have to compare it to other AAAs.
Right.
And that's why we're not the 10s across the board, because there are other games that do something either a little bit better. And this game, like I said, it was amazing. It really was. But there were also the occasional bits where I thought it missed out. There were like when just walking around the desert, I found the music being played then was forgetful. I'm very nitpicking now, just to denote
Right,
that.
it is a bit nitpicky.
Yeah, I am being
but
very
I also
nitpicky.
can't think of a huge flaw. I can't.
No, exactly. No, exactly. It is. No, it is. Yeah, again, it's what we said before. I can imagine their music department gets left alone and gets some great people writing and singing, and they get to make like this orchestral, beautiful music.
Yeah.
You know, this is all orchestras and string instruments and all this. You know, it's lovely. It really is. Like I always, like we were saying before, it's always weird when you actually break down what much actually had to go into it.
Yeah.
You know, rehearsal times and writing music.
It's
you
a
know,
lot.
I don't know anything. It's crazy. And yet again, they did it whoever it is, I don't know, did it very, very well. Like, it's, you know, when you think about it, the scope just kind of bewilders me sometimes.
That is true. A lot of people, I can imagine, will get overwhelmed by this game. It's huge, it's big, but every single part is just crafted so well, so good. Except for maybe one.
The next category.
Yes.
Yeah, we were the same. I think we were the same mind here.
Unfortunately, this game looks great. It sounds great. It doesn't so much feel great. Which is unfortunate because video games are an interactive medium.
Yes, very true. You know, it's almost the part they kind of dropped the ball on. Like I said, we are comparing it to other great games, so it's still very playable and stuff. But they did seem that this was the most lackluster part. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, and no, I totally agree. And lackluster makes it sound like it's bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's just not as excellent as all the other parts, the visuals and the audio. It's good, but that's just it. It's lowercase g good.
Yeah, it's like we all the main part of the combat is a bow and arrows and the occasional other throwing objects, say, which is all that's quite fleshed out, quite good, right? But I found, you know, the spear fighting, I just found that boring. I just kept repeating the same attack again and again and again.
Same.
Like,
and I think
like,
I think they did that on purpose to de-incentivize melee, to have you focus on ranged combat, because that is Aloy's strong suit. But still, I don't know.
Because there were, I'm not sure, like I said, I don't know, there were these melee training pits in 4 different places you had to train, and then you could unlock a champion to fight. Some of those later in game were so frustrating. Now, I'm not like fighting games. You know, in fighting games, to perform the special maneuvers, you got to press like down, left, right, B.
Yes.
You know, I'm not good at those. Never have been. And some of those melee training, you've got to do those things. And if you don't pause for the right amount of time, or if you press R1 too many times, or not, it just doesn't work. So I was stuck there for about 30 minutes trying to do this one combo so I could go on to the next bit. And it was driving me mental. And like I said, the spear fighting isn't good enough for me to want to push through it. I found it like really weak. I found it really boring. You know, I don't know, if you played the original God of War, you have, right?
Of course.
I always like spammed God of War, that same attack. It was like swing, 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 jump up and slam the 2 things on the ground. And it reminded me so much of that because it worked, and this worked again. I just a light, hard attack, and that was it every single time. And it didn't require me to do any more. And especially with games, you know, why isn't there a parry or a counter or, you know, something little like every game kind of has now? Be it Arkham Asylum or even Elden Ring, you know, the parry windows that you can do in certain things. So you get those cool animations and you feel badass. You didn't really have that many moments in there, except for the stealth takedowns. Stealth takedowns are always fun. But as for the actual melee part, it felt like just boring. It felt unpolished.
No, that's what I feel the same. Again, want to stress that it's not bad. We've played bad games before with bad gameplay. This game isn't. It doesn't have bad gameplay. It just doesn't feel super great, which is the exact same criticism I've got for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. it's not bad. The gameplay just isn't super great. It's all animation based, and it's not very fluid or whatever. In a game like Batman Arkham Knight, if you punch, Batman punches. If he punches around, he punches around. It's not dependent on what animation the game has got skills.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Right? I find it. I'm struggling a bit to try and get across what I'm feeling about the gameplay here, but I think it is due to just it being animation based.
Yes, no, I know what you mean, and like I say, we say it because we're quite spoiled in fighting games and the animations and stuff, and we're spoiled, but that also means those games are setting the bar, which other games should come up to meet, and this one just hasn't. And there was another thing that also got me, like the same thing we're talking about setting the bar. The climbing the rocks. You know, with all the games we've had, there's only ever a set path. You know, the amount of times there were like precipices that you had to climb, but I had to run around the mountain to try and find the yellow lines to guide me up the path they wanted me to take.
That's weird.
Which, if you think, with like Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you could climb anything. You could fundamentally climb anything, and a lot of other games, I can't think of them right now, works with the same engine. That they manufacture grips and the character climbs upon those grips to climb to the top. But not in this. You had to take the one path pretty much each time, and I felt that was also a backtrack to like Zero Dawn. It was fine when Zero Dawn came out, but it should have been adapted that when you went to a mountain, you can climb it. You know, it's almost a standard in a lot of games now.
It just makes sense. The climbing is just so weird.
Yeah, it's not
right. I don't get it. You can't just climb what is climbable. You can only climb like yellow.
Yeah, no,
spots.
Exactly. It's so limiting. Like, it's so crazy. You've got
limiting.
All
That's
this
the word.
other...
Limiting. You're right.
Yeah, it's so limiting to everything else that's so awesome, and then you can only climb that yellow bit and that log and that crack in the window, and you just go. Yeah, again, it got left behind. It got forgotten about, like, oh damn, we forgot to fix this, or we forgot to make this better. And that's what it feels like.
It does. It definitely comes across. It definitely feels like that. It's not, again, bad. It is limiting and underbaked.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and that's, like I say, we are being nitpicky, but when you've got these really good games, and this is a very good game, you've got to find reasonable faults, and these are reasonable faults. It's such a shame. It is such a shame.
It is. When we compare this gameplay to the visuals of this game, there's a big difference. There's a big contrast. The visuals are excellent, masterfully done, and the gameplay isn't.
Yeah, and it is a shame. It really is a shame because it makes parts of the game boring. It makes parts of the game
which
repetitive.
Sucks because this is an interesting world. This is an interesting narrative.
100%. Yeah, who doesn't want to explore a world of robotic dinosaurs set in prehistoric times? You know, how you want to describe it. Yeah, that just sounds pure money. Like I forget. You know, it sounds brilliant, and it is. The world itself is excellent. I'd watch a series or movies or read comic books, whatever about it. I think the world they've built is amazing. But the gameplay just sometimes is just very meh.
Meh. I totally agree with that. It is just sometimes totally meh. That mehness that blandness it got from Zero Dawn, and I think they've tried improving a slight bit, but not enough.
No, and that's literally, I think, on both fronts. The gameplay is where we gave it the worst marks.
That's true.
Yeah, again,
that's true.
It's still playable and it's still a good game, but that's probably its biggest weakness in our minds.
Yeah, the weakest link.
Yeah, it really is. Which is, it is what it is.
Unfortunately, but if we let's not pander too much on the same point.
It's true.
If we can move on to performance for this game, this is a very weird. This is a very weird mark to give to a game like this because it is a technical powerhouse.
Yes, 100%.
And on the PS5, it's running 60 FPS. I think scaled up 4K. I'm not entirely sure.
It is, yeah.
But it still looks amazing, and this game works on the PS4, which is hardware that got released almost 10 years ago.
That's it.
How?
It's
How?
crazy to think. It is crazy to think. It is.
So
that's impressive.
Yeah, this is a great performing game, and I can't fault them for not optimizing this game. It is optimized very well.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's again far cleverer people than I. But it is like even you just mentioning that was an aspect I didn't even I think about, because and I haven't heard any complaints about the PlayStation 4 version. I might be wrong, but I've heard no complaints that it's crashing or the frame rates are dropping or anything like that. So it's built very well. There's very few games that go across platform or generations and doesn't lose something somewhere. We all heard it with Elden Ring was one of them. The PlayStation 4 version was more stable to start off with, I think. And then Cyberpunk was a mess on almost both senses, but that was just a
shame.
So it's very hard to do, to my knowledge.
Yeah. I think I just had one bug through my time in Forbidden West. I just had one bug where I glitched through a gate. I was climbing this tower and I bugged through a gate and I couldn't get back, so I had to fall off the tower and start climbing it again. And we all know how we feel about climbing at this point.
Yeah, and I had the same niggle. I was climbing a mountain and I fell and I got stuck between two, like a line between two renders, so to speak. Yeah. And I couldn't roll or jump or anything, so I had to restart. But like I said, those little things, in theory, they're going to happen because, hell, my fall down was like a 1 in 1,000 I was going to hit this little crack in the mountains somehow. You know, and I don't see how that can you find all those things and fix them when you're making a game this big? I'd find it hard to believe.
Yeah, that's it. That's the thing. I think for a game this big, some bugs are inevitable.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree entirely. Yes,
huge.
You can't like when you vacuum the house, you're not going to get all the dust.
No,
and they can't find every little crack that you're going to randomly maybe fall into if you do this, and this. It's So I had the same thing, and I think everybody will experience that to some degree because you can't fix it. You can't find everything.
No.
But apart from that, performance-wise, you can't hugely fault it.
And speaking of how big the game is, I think a very, very, very good part about this game is the value for money that you're getting. This game is, what was it, $60 on the PS4 and $70 on the PS5?
Yeah, that's right. I think so, yeah.
For the amount of game you're getting.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot. This is some excellent value for money. Mm-hmm. Right? I scored this very high. Sorry, yeah?
There was one caveat I would point out.
Yes.
I'm not sure if it goes for value for money or not, is that a knowledge of the first game is really necessary to play this one.
Okay.
Which, like I said, if you didn't know what happened in the first game, like I said, maybe the wrong area I'm putting this in, you don't know why Eloy's a champion. You don't know her backstory. So I feel like if you jump straight in, you don't really know what's going on. It's still a fun game. I didn't know, granted, I should probably put this somewhere else. I just noticed a note I wrote down now. And I found that to be almost a down. Like we say, when I do value for money, I often think that if I didn't play this game before what it is, and the fact that you didn't play the first one, you kind of lose a little. You don't know the characters, so you lose a little bit of immersion, and I don't know if that should be a price point or not.
I don't know. I think it's an interesting point. This could be in the value for money, but this could also be part of the narrative that they could have done a better job explaining what happened in the first game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
An unfortunate circumstance that these games find themselves in. Kids that were 7 years old when the first game came out are now 13 years old when this one comes out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is
exactly.
a huge boost or a chunk of the target market that haven't played the first game because
No,
they
exactly.
couldn't play the first game.
And a lot of the story, maybe it is narrative, like you say. It's always Aloy saying, "Hey, how have you been? It's been so long." And if you've not played the first ones, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, that must be Aloy's old friend. You don't really have any context. But I might be being nitpicking again, but that's one thing that... It's one of those games that has built on a narrative very strongly compared to being able to jump in very easily.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm not
I don't
sure
know.
if that
Yeah,
equates
I
the
mean,
value for money.
You could argue it fits in here, but again, if I'm just objectively looking at the size, the sheer amount of game in Forbidden West,
yes,
you
like
are
said,
getting, yeah. If we think back to kids that don't have a lot of money and can only afford one game a year for their birthday or whatever.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yes, I
They're
agree
sorted.
entirely.
They're sorted with Forbidden West.
Yeah. No, I entirely agree. There is so much in there, and hell, and even the achievements. If you're an achievement hunter, they are doable. They are time consuming, and like you said, there's so much in here. But if you look at most of the achievements, they're doable with some time and some a relative skill level, which also like you said, if you're only buying one game a year, and one of your aspects is platinum it or getting the 1,000 on Xbox or whatever the achievement is. That there's a value there, because some achievement hunting is in my opinion nigh on impossible or really finicky, and I haven't got time for it. These ones are kind of just time consuming but doable. And yet again, value wise, like I said, there is so much to do in this game. As an older person and as a working person, and like yourself, there's a bit too much to do in these games.
The busier I get during the day or in the evening, the less excited I get for games. I'm
exactly the same. But I can appreciate, like you said, if you can only afford one game a year, game, this is definitely one you go for compared to, I know, a Telltale game or something like that, which is only a few hours long. Good, but this is definitely what you put your money in, 100%. But like you said, as you get older, you don't. When you've only got a precious 2 hours like a day, and you think you're going to be playing the same game for the next 6 years, it doesn't really work out.
Horizon Forbidden West on the PS5. We've tallied up our scores, we've let it run through our sheet, and we've given this game the letter grade rating of a B+.
Yeah, still no game can reach that beautiful A that they're all looking for, at least not to our standards.
There's that golden shiny A. It's gonna come.
It's a challenge to all of you out there, you game developers that are definitely listening to this podcast. I don't doubt that for one second.
Yeah.
They're all listening, there's no doubt. But when they know that Nick and Dave are out there reviewing games, they're listening. No one has reached that A yet. Can God of War do that? Maybe.
Ooh, God of War, come on, you can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah. We've
Kratos.
got. Show us what kind of father you really can be.
Yes, there's a reason they call him Kratos and not Kratos.
That was beautiful.
Yes, thank you, David.
that was very good.
So, right, that was our episode on Horizon Forbidden West. Join us next week, where we will be reviewing the horror darling from 2005. Darling's a weird word.
That is a strange word, especially for this time of game. But all right.
We will be reviewing Fear.
Fear, the 2005 game. I can't believe it came out long ago. But
long ago. Everyone's pants shittingly scary.
Yeah, no,
game.
this was back in the day. This hit the new benchmark for scary games.
Yeah, with little girls at the end of hallways.
Yeah, what's scarier? I always turn around if any little girl is at the end of a hallway. It doesn't matter where I am.
Tune in next week where we will be reviewing Fear, a game I haven't played in a very long time.
Nor me, and it's a game I fear. Sorry, that was a really bad. That was a very well. Like I said, I don't like scary games, and I remember watching my brother play this, and yeah, All right, I'm looking forward to doing that again.
Oh yeah,
But
and
hey, it's
talking
going
about
to be
it
fun
afterwards.
to listen to. Exactly, yes.
You can follow me on Twitter at It's Time for Nick. David, where can they follow you?
You could try following me, but let's keep in context. If you do, I will make you have a conversation with Aloy for like 6 hours, and then see if that doesn't make you regret it. There you go.
That I could not handle 6 minutes of that, so
No, exactly.
I will
There
definitely
you go.
not be following you.
So let's follow Nick. This sounds far
It's
happier.
ridiculous that this is part of our episode.
I know, right? I know. It's a thing. Oh yeah, don't forget to tell your parents.
Yeah! Tell your parents, please do. Tell your parents.
It's funny
Thanks
that
for
these are things. But thanks, yeah. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
on this episode of Critical Hit Podcast. See you next week. Cheers.
See you next week. Cheers.